Hey guys, and welcome to the Mr. Maple Show. I'm Tim Nichols, and we are at MrMaple.com. We do over 1,000 varieties of Japanese maples. That's right, we ship them directly to your door, so you can shop on MrMaple.com and help support this channel who does daily gardening content focused on maples. If you're not subscribed to our daily content, make sure you're subscribed. We put out videos each and every day, from Saturday showcases to walkthroughs to 10 at 10 releases. A lot of fun gardening content here on the Mr. Maple Show. So go ahead, hit that like button. We'd really appreciate it. Get involved in the live chat if you're watching this as they air. We do air these every single morning at 9 a.m. except for our podcasts, which come out on Sundays at 8 p.m. Guys, we've got a cool one for you today. Today we're comparing 3 different species maples here for our Saturday showcase. We've got Acer Tenuifolium, we've got Acer Oliveranum, and Acer Pseudoscibaldi. These are 3 maples that are in section palmatum. That means they're closely related to your typical Japanese maple. They're from different parts of the world, but a lot of times they're so closely related, they're just as closely related as the Acer japonicums and Acer shirasalums to the Acer palmatums that you may already grow in your garden. We've got some awesome plants here behind me. Here I've got Acer Tenuifolium. Tenuifolium was brought out of the subspecies of shirasalum years ago. And it is a really cool, almost full moon-like Japanese maple. The leaves are a little more incised than your Acer shirasalum. We actually saw some of these growing around Nikko National Park in Japan when we went and visited. They are a Japanese maple. They're just a different species people aren't that familiar with. Acer Tenuifolium is a really nice mid-sized tree. This will end up getting to be a tree that'll end up getting about 10, 12 feet in 10 to 15 years. It's a smaller species maple that's not often seen out in the nursery trade. There's only a few cultivars of this selection. One that we've offered before is Kikanzan. Another that we've offered before is actually been offered under the name Acer Oliveranum Soda Nauchi, and the Japanese actually have it as a Tenuifolium now. So I talked to some guys who are really good at identifying species, and they also thought it was an Acer Tenuifolium. So likely Soda Nauchi is in that Acer Tenuifolium species. One thing about the straight species is it has some really nice elongated foliage. It's a pretty good vigorous plant. Typically wants some protection from the hot afternoon sun. And this is more of that full moon style, and you get some really nice yellows to oranges in the fall on this species. Again, this is a maple species that's native to Japan that you don't see that often in the nursery trade, but it's Acer Tenuifolium. Guys, I'm standing here with Acer Oliveranum. Acer Oliveranum comes from China, and it is an extremely heat-tolerant maple. We've actually introduced a number of Acer Oliveranum selections, and they're part of our Heat Seeker series here at Mr. Maple. From Hot Blonde, Hot Tamale, Hot Sauce, and future ones of Hot Chicken, and also Hot Rod. So guys, Oliveranum is one of our favorite species here at Mr. Maple, and I'm standing here with the straight species, Acer Oliveranum. It's a larger, faster growing tree that prefers the sunlight and has some excellent fall color. This is a species that can handle full sun in Texas, full sun in the deep south, and is one of the most heat tolerant maples that you can find. We love Acer Oliveranum because it has that superpower of making plants extremely heat tolerant. So we like to look through seedlings of this, but Acer Oliveranum itself is a gorgeous upright tree. And like I said, it's in section palmata, so it's closely related to your Japanese maple from China with a nice green summery feel for a larger tree. You know, this is a tree that can sometimes grow 2 feet of growth in a year. So it's a little bit faster growing than your typical palmatum. And the fall colors can really have some nice shades from orange to red on Acer Oliveranum. Typically, Acer Oliveranum is about a zone 6B to 7 plant, and that's on its cold hardiness. But a lot of our selections like Acer Oliveranum has proven to be even more cold tolerant, likely because they're hybrids with Acer palmatum or other Japanese maples. Acer Oliveranum though, it's a rock star in the garden. A lot of the people in the deep south often come to me and they say, Tim, I need an Acer Oliveranum, because there's not a lot of people who carry this amazing species, but also this thing is just a rock star when it comes to performing in those high heat settings. Acer Oliveranum, a great larger tree. We're talking a tree that could be 20 feet in 10 years. This is a tree that's going to give you a lot of shade out in the landscape and garden, but also have that non-invasive root system that many of your Acer palmatums have. And guys, where that last Acer Oliveranum I showed you had a more pointed palmate leaf, Acer Pseudoscibaldi that I'm standing here beside has a more rounded full moon style leaf. Now, Acer Pseudoscibaldi is an amazing species in itself. It's a rare species that is extremely cold tolerant. That means it adds cold tolerance to take things down to zone 4. I mean, this is a cool species that goes down to those more cold areas, more cold than your typical Acer palmatum in zone 5. Acer Pseudoscibaldi though, I mean, growing in the wild, this thing grows in northeast China as well as eastern Russia. I heard someone once giving a talk on the ecology of Acer Pseudoscibaldi, and they said, out there in the wild where this thing is, there's lions and tigers and bears, oh my. So you can imagine going out and checking out some Acer Pseudoscibaldi in the wild, and there's a lion over here, a tiger over there, and a bear over there. That's crazy. But the cool thing about this plant, it is one of the best fall colors of any Japanese maple. You often get yellows, oranges, and reds infused in the leaves. And the fall color is very consistent, and it's one that lasts for a long time on Acer Pseudoscibaldi. Now, one thing we've noted about Acer Pseudoscibaldi is typically the species is a fairly narrow growing plant at a younger age. So it grows up tall and narrow and then starts to fill out a little bit wider as it ages. And that's just typical of the straight species. There's also a subspecies called the oolong-dew maple, Acer Pseudoscibaldi subspecies tachycemens, that is native to the Oolong-dew Island between North Korea and Japan, closer towards the North Korea side. But Acer Pseudoscibaldi is extremely cold tolerant. We love this tree because it gives you a nice green feel. It looks to many people like a large leaf Acer japonicum or a Acer shirasawanum. It has a heavy pubescence on the leaf itself, so you see a lot of hairs on the foliage. Now you see that name pseudo in front of it, Cibaldianum, and that's because people say it's a false Cibaldianum. Often Cibaldianum has a very similar leaf to it, but this is a plant that is extremely cold tolerant. And this is a plant that'll do well in a plethora of gardens because it can go in that zone 4 through 9. So it gets an extra zone of cold hardiness to it because it is a Pseudoscibaldi. Another cool plant to look through seedlings, see what you can find. And when you find variation, you have something really cool because you have a Japanese maple that may be a hybrid with a palmatum or a hybrid with something else, but it may also take it to a colder zone because of that. Pseudoscibaldi, one of those plants with an awesome superpower that I think more people need to be growing in their gardens. I mean, this is a rock star in the garden, and that fall color is electric. Guys, I've given you 3 different species today of maples that are closely related to Japanese maples. That means they're in section palmata. They graft onto Acer palmatum. They're the Japanese maple's cousins, just as closely related to the japonicums and the shirasawanums that you may be familiar with. But 3 different species that are awesome and uniquely different. And guys, these 3 different species we also have in 10 gallons here at Mr. Maple, 10 or 15 gallons. So we've got some killer sizes on these things. So guys, remember to shop with us on MrMaple.com and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And guys, thank y'all so much for watching. Y'all are such a great community of people. And if you want to get involved in the community more, go to our Mr. Maple Friends group on Facebook. There's an awesome group of people there who share photos of their garden constantly. So you can go in there, share photos of your own garden, and show off your maples. I mean, that's one of the fun things to do is take something that's beautiful growing in your yard and show it to other people, and then they can show you all the cool trees that they're growing. Guys, take care, God bless, and have an awesome day.